श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, ninth chapter, verse 5. Canto 3, titled The Status Quo. Chapter 9, titled Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. And the verse number is 5. Yetutitva vidya charanambhujakoshragandham jigranti karna vivarai shrutivata nityam Bhaktya grihata charana parayasya cha tesam napavai sinath hridayam bhurta shvabhapunsam ye tu tvadiya charanam bhujako sagandham jighranti karana vivarai shrutivata nityam Bhaktya grihata charana paraya cha tesam napavai sinath hridayam bhurta shvabhapunsam. Word by word meaning synonyms. Ye, those who. Tu, but. Tvadiya, your. Charanambhuja, lotus feet. Kosha, inside. Gandham, flavor. Jigranti, smell. Karna vivarai, through the channel of the ears. Shrutivata nityam, carried by the air of Vedic sound. Bhaktya, by devotional service. Bhaktya, by devotional service. Grihita charana, accepting the lotus feet. Uraya, transcendental. Cha, also. Tesam, for them. No, never. Apaisi, separate. Natha, O my Lord. Hridaya, hurt. Amburvat, from the lotus of. Swapumsam, of your own devotees. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. O my Lord, persons who smell the aroma of your lotus feet, carried by the air of Vedic sound through the holes of the ears, accept your devotional service. For them, you are never separated from the lotus of their hearts. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. For the pure devotee of the Lord, there is nothing beyond the lotus feet of the Lord, and the Lord knows that such devotees do not wish anything more than that. The word tu specifically establishes this fact. The Lord also does not wish to be separated from the lotus heart of those pure devotees. That is the transcendental relationship between the pure devotees and the personality of Godhead. Because the Lord doesn't wish to separate himself from the hearts of such pure devotees, it is understood that they are specifically dearer than the impersonalist. The relationship of the pure devotees with the Lord develops because of devotional service to the Lord on the authentic basis of Vedic authority. Such pure devotees are not mundane sentimentalists, but are factually realist because their activities are supported by the Vedic authorities who have given oral reception to the facts mentioned in the Vedic literatures. The word paraya is very significant. Parabhakti, or spontaneous love for God, is the basis of an intimate relationship with the Lord. The highest stage of relationship with the Lord can be attained simply by hearing about Him, His name, form, quality, etc. From authentic sources like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, recited by pure, unalloyed devotees of the Lord. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmalitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namo Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरु वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखा वितंश हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमो। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So thank you so much for joining this Nityam Bhagavata Seva group in the morning on this auspicious day of Ekadasi. And what a day to start the Ekadasi, where Lord Brahma is glorifying Garvadoksha Vishnu. As this chapter suggests, Lord Brahma, after appearing from the navel of Garvadoksha Vishnu through the stem of the lotus, and when he found that he appeared, he is trying to find his origin, and then he is glorifying the Lord. And here, the glorification has taken it to a higher level. Not even a poet can think of how to glorify. So here, Lord Brahma is saying, Yetutvadiya charanam bhuja kosha gandham. That means the lotus feet of the Lord, the feet of the Lord is compared to the lotus, and the lotus has fragrance. But the fragrance is actually emitted and comes to our nose through the wind. But here, Jigranti Karuna Vivarai Shrutivat Nityam. But here, instead of smelling the fragrance of the lotus feet of the Lord, the devotees of the Lord are smelling the fragrance of the Lord through the ears, not through the nose. So this is a very beautiful topic we are going to dwell into in the next 20-25 minutes, where Lord Brahma explaining, or rather glorifying the Lord, is saying the smell of the lotus feet of the Lord is ingested by the devotee through the Shruti, through the power of the scriptures, through the ear. Jigranti karna vivarai shrutivata nityam. Bhakta grihata charanam parai. Then once the devotee takes the smell of the Lord through the Shruti of the scriptures, Lord position to reside on a lotus is created in the heart of a devotee. Bhaktya grihata charanam paraya chestam. Napai shinata hidayam. So hidayam means in the heart of the devotee, there is a lotus created where Lord can come and reside. See how the transmigration of this event has happened here by this beautiful glorification of Brahma. From the fragrance of the lotus feet of the Lord is intake by the devotee through the Shruti of the scriptures, through the hearing process. Through the hearing process, it comes. So the smell of the lotus is smelled not by the nose, but by the ear of the devotees. And once this goes into the ear of the devotees, a lotus, hridayamrita, that means in the heart of the devotee, a lotus is formed so that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Purna Purushottam Krishna, can come and reside. So how beautifully Brahma has compared the transition in this beautiful long verse we can appreciate. So with that basic understanding, so here as you can see, there is the lotus which has the fragrance, and this lotus fragrance is actually emanated, and then the wind takes over. So the wind takes over the fragrance and transmits it to the nose of the devotees. But here it is not through the nose devotees are smelling the lotus feet of the Lord. They are smelling the lotus feet of the Lord through the hearing process, not through the wind which travels. So this is so beautiful. The smell of the Krishna's lotus feet travels through the sound vibration of the scriptures. Shruti, Brahmaji is saying, Shruti Vata Nityam. So through the Shruti, this smelling of the lotus feet, smelling of the beautiful fragrance of the lotus feet is ingested by the devotee through the hearing process. So the wind that carries the smell is compared with Shruti here. So this is so deep actually. When you think about it, when I got the opportunity by Prabhuji assigning me this, I was thinking this verse is really very, very complicated. If you think how Brahmaji's thought process is when he's comparing the smell being transmigrated through the Shruti of the scripture. So the power of the scripture is emphasized here in a very different way. And the fragrance of the lotus feet through ear is entering the heart of the devotees. And in the heart of the devotees, a lotus is getting formed so that the Krishna can come and reside. How beautiful this explanation is. The heart of the devotees are compared with the lotus. And there, Srila Prabhupada has taken it to a very different level by explaining about this, step-by-step thought process of Brahmaji. So when through hearing the lotus feet of the Lord enters the lotus heart of the devotees. So through hearing, this lotus feet of the Lord enters through the process I just discussed into the lotus heart of the devotee, then the Lord resides in the heart of the devotees. So what a verse to meditate on this beautiful day of Ekadasi, where through the hearing process, through the only Shruti, we can understand the Lord in a different way. So that means here you can see there are two senses, the sense of smell and sense of hearing, all culminating into the ingestion process by the devotee, by the process of hearing. And those two senses are folded into one when we hear attentively about the Supreme Lord. And that enables us to have the feeling, have a deep feeling for the Lord. And then Lord sees the feeling. Lord doesn't recognizes the process of the gyan we take from the scriptures, the Sanskrit way of speaking or the Sanskrit way of, incorporating. Lord understands based on this gyan what we have taken, the science, and taken it and realized it, then when it becomes Vigyan. And when this Vigyan translates into the feeling of loving relationship with the Lord in the form of bhakti, Lord understands that. Lord doesn't here when Brahmaji is talking about the power of scriptures, he is talking about the intrinsic outcome of the feeling which emanates from after hearing the Gyan. Then we realize this and implement it in devotional service, what kind of feelings we get. And that feelings leads to some characteristics in our process of advancement to bhakti. And that is exactly what Lord Brahma is explaining so beautifully here once he comes out of it. So if you think about the knowledge acquisition process, the mental speculators, Lord hates mental speculation. And also the pure devotees of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ji, 2 days back when you were hearing some of the greatest offerings done by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, one devotee very eloquently mentioned about why we should not speculate on the thought process of Srila Prabhupada's mind. So whatever Srila Prabhupada has thought, woke up till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock at the frail age of 70 plus and wrote these beautiful purports, we should not even speculate on Srila Prabhupada's essence. So that's the reason why he was mentioning in a very nice way. He's from Los Angeles, and he was mentioning how Srila Prabhupada's books, if it doesn't have any spelling mistakes or so, forget about that, but it should not be edited because Srila Prabhupada wrote it with a unique concept, with a unique thought process, and why in addition to Lord hating these mental speculators, why even Srila Prabhupada's writing should not be considered or should not be uh, a scope for uh, editing by virtue of trying to add our mental conclusion into what Srila Prabhupada would have thought through. So beautifully, that really touched my heart. So I thought I'll share it. So the worst part of knowledge acquisition is through speculation. So through speculation, we can think anything and we can uh, realize anything, and that leads to anarthas. So here in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.4, then it's mentioned, if someone gives up that path and engages in the cultivation of speculative knowledge, he will simply undergo a troublesome process and will not achieve the desired results. So this speculation has consequences in our service as well. So if we have not clarified the detailed service in a Rath Yatra or a Janmashtami or a Balram Jayanti, it leads to so much of confusion. People mental concussion goes into the instruction given, and sometimes they give the instructions which is not based on the common sense, and common sense is not so common, which is exactly why we have to internalize this beautiful process of bhakti so that we understand what kind of instructions are given and put it in a common sense perspective, which would, if Prabhupada would have been there, if our Gurudev would have been there, if Krishna would have been there, would have pleased with that instruction and would have been pleased with the execution of the instruction. So the speculation of what the instruction was and how I should apply to when people are suffering, how I should let them go in or go out. So it's all built into the process of mental speculation. Never ever speculate. That's the reason why the descending process of knowledge acquisition is the topmost process, which is the process of hearing. So Lord Brahma, in just the prior verse of what we just discussed about the troublesome process of speculation, is those who, even while remaining situated in their established social positions, throw away the process of speculative knowledge with their body, words, and mind, offer all respects to descriptions of your personality and activities, dedicate their lives to those narrations which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees. Certainly conquer your lordships, although you're otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the three worlds. So it is very important that the descending process of bhakti should be recognized with common sense so that the devotees are protected, the devotees are not hurt. If you have seen, no one has become Mahabhagavat by blaspheming devotees. Anybody who has become a Mahabhagavat, whether it is our divine grace, whether any of the personality from the scriptures like Vishmadev or Arjuna, or people who are very top of the world in the skills they possess, or even Jesus Christ, or any personality for that matter, who have gone up and become Mahabhagavat, the Saptavesh avatars of the Lord, they have never defied the devotees. So devotees are very dear to the Lord. Just by blaspheming, by hurting the devotees, never ever you can become Mahabhagavat or get into the process of advancing in the process of bhakti. Always, devotees are very dear to the Lord, and all the indications of, whenever we try to do something, we should think, if I would do this, if I would execute this instruction, would Srila Prabhupada be happy? Would Srila Prabhupada approve of this? Would Srila Prabhupada approve of spending money in advertising in big billboards? So we have to think about it. And all these things go into, if Srila Prabhupada would have been there, sometimes Srila Prabhupada would say, instead of spending advertising in billboards, we should probably write books. We should probably distribute more books. And because that was the heart. And whenever you get sleep at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, your eyes burn. And in that state, Srila Prabhupada has expressed everything into the books by writing it at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, sleepless nights at that frail age of 70. So that's the reason why it doesn't have to be speculated. Bhagavad Gita as it is good as it is. There's no reason to really think or talk anything beyond what Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in, in Bhagavad Gita as it is. And so the power of hearing is emphasized here as the smell of the lotus is migrated into the hearing process, hearing vibrations through Shruti into the ear, into the heart of the devotee. That's why Srila Prabhupada in the purport mentions so beautifully about, for them, they are never separated from the lotus of their hearts. So the lotus of the heart, lotus in the heart of the devotee and the lotus feet of the Lord, they are different in the sense that they are not separated. So the Lord's lotus feet is residing in the heart of the lotus of the devotee. So because of the smelling, the aroma of the lotus feet carried by the air of Vedic sound through the holes of the ear, accept your devotional service. So at the end of the day, this Shruti should mention to us that this hearing process is theory, but when we apply it in practice, it becomes our sadhana, it becomes our devotional service. So the chanting of the holy name, the hearing process of Srimad Bhagavatam in the morning and Bhagavad Gita in the evening, they give us principles which we should take and apply in actions. And what is that action? That action is devotional service. And when we do that, we generate that feeling. When we generate that feeling, we arouse a lotus in our heart, and Krishna comes and reside in the lotus of our heart. And for them, as Srila Prabhupada is saying right here, for them, you are never separated from the lotus of their hearts. Brahmaji is saying, if you do that, then Garbhodaksha Vishnu, in this example, is never separated from the lotus of the heart of the devotee. So there are a lot of linkages within this verse, but once we have understood it, we have probably understood it forever. So here we should think about non-speculative knowledge acquisition, which comes from the descending process. So as you know, the 9 processes of bhakti, it starts with hearing. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, this beautiful subverse, Purnya Shravana Kirtana, in 1.2.17. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is Paramatma, in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his message, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So the hearing process is emphasized. And when you hear the aspect of cleansing, what is the cleansing we all are talking about? The 6 enemies of the mind. The lust we all have, the anger we all have. When we see things not in proper shape, we do some anger. So the greed and the arrogance, because we have generated some $1,000, that gets people into arrogance. So that's why Kavi Chandra Maharaj, in that same quorum, when he was offering to Srila Prabhupada on 2 days back, mentioned this beautiful thing. It's not important how much money we generate. It is important. Actually, he read it from one of the churches, but this still applies to us. It doesn't matter how much money we generate as a temple, but it is important how many true Krishna conscious, actually it was spiritual for him, but how many Krishna conscious devotees, how true Krishna conscious devotees we generate by virtue of our relationship, by virtue of our preaching. That's the reason why Srila Prabhupada or any of us in that sense, we should not think we are preaching. We are actually helping through preaching. So whenever the thought process of we doing the preaching comes, then the aspect of arrogance sets in. But Srila Prabhupada, when he was going in Jaladuta, mentions Maravi ki Rakhuvi. That means whether you keep me alive or not, I'm just going to dance to your tune. And so Srila Prabhupada has always said, I'm not preaching, I'm basically preaching through my guru. So our intent should not be to preach, but should be preach through the the foundation, the principles which has been laid through it. So when we do that, these six enemies, the kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, moha, matsarya, lust, anger, greed, arrogance, delusion, jealousy will go away. And our process of hearing will lead into a process of attentively hear before seva, which is very clear, because when it comes from a Vedic authority, it pariprashnena sevaya, when it comes from the right authority, and it should be only ingested from the right authority, then we have to attentively hear, because if you do not hear attentively, something will be instructed to you and you'll be doing something else. So it is very important that we attentively hear what is given to us, whether it is a Rath Yatra assignment or a Balram Jayanti assignment or a Janmashtami assignment. We have to attentively hear what is prescribed to us, what is given to us, and do as it is, so that there are no gaps and there are no miscommunication. And I said this, you did this. So we should attentively hear, which Brahmaji is so beautifully explaining. If we attentively hear, we'll do a service, pakka, and when we do the service, we get the feeling wherein there will be a lotus in our heart and Krishna will come and reside. And what is the yardstick of our progress? After seva, we should gain humility. After doing Janmashtami, Rath Yatra, Balram Jayanti, Gaur Purnima, if we are not more humble, then that means the seva we have done is not good enough. We have lost it actually. If we show puffedness, if we show that we have gained nothing in terms of humility, then that is a yardstick that we are really not progressing. After all big festivals, when we get into the mood of Krishna's appearance or Balram's appearance or taking the Lord outside because Lord wanted to see his devotees, if we are not humbler than our prior day, that means we have not really understood Krishna consciousness. And the second thing which is important, which is a yardstick that we are progressing in bhakti, is we should attain submissiveness. More and more time you spend, because initially when you come, you do Janatana Pakarana, that means you kind of do service in whatever way. But as we structure ourselves into the process and we understand the Bhakti Lata Beach very clearly, then our advancement should lead to humility and submissiveness. If that is not there, then that means in the yardstick of acquiring bhakti or in the process of sadhana, we have lost it. And that is very critical in recognizing whether we are really progressing in bhakti or we are going behind. And this is a process, it's a science, as Srila Prabhupada said. And it has some test criteria, and you do it right, you get the test results. And you will feel it if you have done it with true Krishna conscious principles, which is imbibed on you on through this SBBG classes, then you'll feel that, yeah, you have become more humbler after cooking for 1,000 people. If you have not, then there are challenges which can be refined as the day progresses. So the yardstick, as Brahmaji is mentioning, is the process of hearing. Through the process of hearing, we make our heart so soft like the butter of Krishna that a lotus gets formed in the heart and Krishna comes and resides in that lotus. So the lotus of the heart of the devotee is a transmigration of the lotus feet of the Lord in this beautiful verse, where as you have heard, Krishna can accept bhoga by glances, by just looking at it. And devotees can smell the lotus feet of the Lord through the ear. So Achinta Bheda Veda, our process is very unique, unimaginable, but our process is the top of the world. So we can smell the lotus fragrance of the lotus feet of the Lord through the ear of the Shruti of the scripture. And whatever start the day and so that today about how to hear, how to smell the lotus feet of the Lord through hearing process, the beautiful hearing process, how Lord Brahma is glorifying Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So with that, I like to end here. What a words to sort of meditate, take it away for the days to contemplate and meditate. And with that, I'd like to end here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. A question, comment, reflection is asked if it is before 7. Otherwise, we discuss it after in the word group. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful. Madhuvati Prabhu is there. Prabhuji is not there. So
He's in a temple or an altar, Prabhuji. Haribol.
oh, Haribol, Jai. Okay, so then let's conclude today's, if there are no questions. It's so nice to hear, right? Srimad Bhagavad in the morning, and it was reminding us how the 4 Kumaras became the devotees of the Lord. Initially, they were Brahmavadis. Just by smelling the fragrance of the tulasi leaves come from the lotus feet of the Lord. It's very appropriate. It transforms. Bhakti means a direct relationship with the Supreme Lord. So it's create the relationship and Lord seated in our hearts. It's wonderful. Very nice. Thank you so much, Coach. So let's conclude then today's session. Let's chant Hare Krishna 3 times and the Narasimha prayer. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare,
Sri Narasimha, Jai Narasimha, Jai Jai
Jai
Narasimha.
Narasimha, Jai
Prahaladesha, Jai
Narasimha Deva,
Bhatma, Muga Bhatma,
Prahladesh,
Bhatma.
Jai Padma Vringa, Ukram
Shubhram
Viram
Viryam
Mahavishnu,
Mahavishnu,
Jalatam
Jalantam Sarvadomukam, Narasimham Vishanam
Bhishna
Bhadram,
Bhadram,
Murtyu Namamiham.
Mrityum Namamyam,
So let's also pay our obeisance to the all assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Evacha
Titanam Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Namo
Namaha Vaishnavrinda ki Jai. Also, there is an announcement. Today is an auspicious day of His Holiness Gopalakrishna Goswami Maharaj Vyasapuja, Parents' Day. So, devotees, disciples sent out the invites in our WhatsApp groups. So, devotees, the disciples were requesting everybody to join tonight at the temple. It's a very auspicious day as well. Today is also the Ekadashi, that is another Ekadashi. And tomorrow morning, the fast breaking time is 6:25 to 10:45 tomorrow morning, the breaking time. So, Jaiprash, is there any kirtan or anything? Or just
no, we're not going to do kirtan because we're going to join the part of the Vyas Puja program.
Yes, yeah, also, yeah, that's correct. And also, we are canceling tonight's Bhagavad Gita class. Many devotees are participating in the Vyasa Puja. So there will not be any Bhagavad Gita class tonight. It's wonderful. Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Hema Jagannatha. One beautiful verse and beautiful explanation. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Haribol.
Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Gauri Premanande.
Hare
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.